This is where I start from. Normally it's a PSD file, but this is my PDF that I created, but this is where I start from. So with the PSD, I would normally go File, Save As, and then I would set it as a PDF. That way I can bring it on over into Adobe Reader easier. So as you can see, I already have it saved. So here's one of the catches that you have to pay attention to. My canvas size is 44 inches by 36 on this template. The height of this is what really matters. You want, because you already know you can only go 24 inches wide on the print. So it's going to split it automatically with this method. 36 inches high is the size from here to here. This was for an adult small shirt, and as you can see, my adult small isn't going to print that big. Well, at least I'm not going to press it that big, but I'll have enough of the design to where if I needed to go larger up to a 2XL, 3XL, I would have big enough to do it based off the type of shirt that I'm using. But anyways, it's going to print everything you see within this red box. You turn that off for printing, and I'm not going to print from Photoshop. As I said, I export it as save it as a PDF file, and then bring it over into Adobe Reader. So here's how it looks over in Adobe Reader. I go up to print, and print page size is one of the first starting keys. Make sure you have your printer set. So I have my 500 set, and I'm going to change this. Right now, if you look over here, it says 51 by 44 inches, and these little bitty squares represent paper size. Right now, it's picking up that is probably ladder size paper that it's reading. So this part right here of going to page setup is very important to the next steps. I'm going to select my F500. For me, I have figured out go with the size of the artboard from Photoshop. So my Photoshop was 36 inches high. I'm going to come over here, and these are presets I've made. I'm going to select this one. Now, if you haven't done this before, you want to go ahead and do it. Or you could use one of these up here. ArchD 24 by 36 would have the same results. You don't necessarily have to always create it if they're already showing. But that artboard length is one of the most important parts because you need it to go long lengthwise on that paper. The width is automatically set at 24, like I said. You can't go no wider than that. But let's say I didn't have this. What I do is hit Manage Custom Sizes. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to change 24 by 36 was that. So I'm going to give it a little bit more room. I'm going to select my F500. It's probably best to select that first. It's going automatically 24.25. Those are your margins. So it's automatically shaping the paper a little bit wider than 24 inches, which is fine. It doesn't matter. It takes the margins out, but I'm going to change this right here. My bad. I said 38 inches. I'm going to leave these alone. I'm going to save this. So I'm going to title this one Adult Small All Over. So that way I can just select it every time when I'm doing that size print. And it keeps reverting for some reason. So I'm going to say that. That's done. Just hit OK. Now you just seen the screen change. I'm selecting poster. That way it's splitting. You can't really see it, but right down here in the middle, there's a split in the paper. This is only going to print on two sheets of paper. This size over here is 24.25. This one over here is 24.25. The rest of it is the length of paper that's going to feed out the printer. So this is what you see coming out first, out the printer. I'm going to put a slight overlap on this. That way, one more part of the design prints that would go onto the actual paper. You'll end up using that as your ledge to tape your design. So you're going to end up cutting off a white space so you can tape your design from behind without that big crease that comes down the middle, where you might see somebody have that white line that's real pronounced. This little overlap helps feed that design in so you don't have that pronounced piece there. One more part to that is how you press it. When I come to the center of the shirt where I know I taped it, I press that part more than once. So I make sure I get it inside the press each time. And you usually know because your paper will be browner there. Your butcher paper will. But that's part of what this is about. Anyways, now if I was going to go print it, I also make sure I do my print settings. So that's what that second button is for the printer. You want to make sure your print settings are set up. I don't do color matchings in all cases. But in this case, since it's coming in as a PDF, the option is available because it doesn't control your prints. But you can ignore that for the moment being, unless you've never touched that before. But if you haven't touched it before, set it to Epson Color Controls. You're going to turn off color management because I saved the file with the embedded ICC profile in it. So that's off. You see how it automatically picked up my paper size because I already set it. So it's picking up the size paper that I want. Over here, all of this is already done except for this. I'm going to set it to textile so it don't just default to whatever I originally set my printer up with. In my case, I did set it up with textile, but sometimes some people have set theirs up with rigid, and that's going to lay down a lot of ink. Here, I turn off high speed. My next step is I go to advanced in the menu, and I set it on normal cut, auto rotate, and save paper. That way, it doesn't feed out more paper than what I need, and I'm not just wasting paper with all this white space. It's gonna bring the print just shy of, bring the cut just shy of where my print ends at, since I don't need all that extra paper. And then you hit print, and it brings you back here, and this is where you're actually gonna do your print from. So now, like I said, can't really zoom in on it, but right here, there is a line in this screen to show me where that print is going to overlap it and how it's going to print on 2 different pieces of paper. You don't have to print on 3, 4, unless you're going bigger, of course, on past a 3XL in this case. This right here is sufficient enough to go all the way up to a 3XL. And then you hit print, and it's going to spit out the 2 pieces of paper. You tape them in the center.